Alright, this is my second take in trying to make this video. I'm having a little bit of a problem. My phone, not a problem, but I'm not charging it. But I don't mind saying the same thing over and over. I think the power of words and repetitions helps in regard of just making sure that it's just instilled in me to always recognize what they do. As much as they try to distract me, it's funny how they try to disorient you and make you believe anything else but the reality of what's going on. And seeing these clowns trying to make this nastiness of what they're part of fierce and and brave. You know, the way we've been validated, this clown cannot counter that. In my last video, I talked about like how this like people from like even like dating apps are trying to match you and then match with you so they can try to disorient you. And I'm like, trash. I know you're just a perp. I know the entities running this program are definitely much bigger than what you're trying to present yourself as. You're just a low life trash who is trying to disorient me from reality. Target individuals are human subjects. We are test subjects, and they use governmental entities, the Department of Defense technology, and develop this very, very sophisticated technology that can manipulate us in so many ways. And then they contract these perps, these bottom feeders, who try to disorient you and into accepting these manipulations. The manipulations are very systematic. What's happening to you as a target individual is not unique to you. They do that to others. The people who are involved in this are not the geniuses that you think. Anybody can participate. The thing that you need is to have this shamelessness that is easy to acquire. You just truly, you need to have a sense of weakness. You have to be almost a childlike human being. You have to like accept that I'm going to have to be an idiot. I'm really going to have to dumb myself down. As I'm speaking right now, these contracted perps are in the hallways. As you're going to hear, a lot of times neighbors are involved in this. To try to disorient me. Because they want me to they want me to accept these manipulations. They are so pathetic. These people will die. This is how they live today, as they're able to live, by choice. And so the reason why they do this thing is as we are manipulated by this technology, that's governmental technology from the DoD, experimenting on us in regard of how to tweak around the manipulations of his mind, of her organ, of his organs, of his body. What breaks that individual down? This is the Department of Defense program. You can understand the level of incentives they can provide to opportunists are high. And this is what these bottom feeders are part of. Matter of fact, as I'm saying that, they tell me how they're going to frame me. Because one of these neighbors' child is going to be coerced into saying that I did something to them. They're prepping some kind of frame. Now, the humiliation of reality, the way it seems like it's almost God sent, that everything falls into like the place of reality. Like, listen, I'm a target individual. What's going to happen to me is going to be terrible, because I know those governmental entities are running this program. I know the Department of Defense is running this show. And I know I'm just a test subject. I'm a guinea pig. These losers around you are just the trash. I want you to believe this facade that they're tasked to get you to accept. Matter of fact, they even have their children involved in it. You got to understand that if a child-minded individual is involved in this, they don't need geniuses here. It's not here a place where for you, they need you to think. Matter of fact, you turn down the volume of logic, big time. But you get something out of it, but something's going to be taken out of it. And the way we've been validated, that's all I'm saying. That's why I'm so thankful to God. I could have been one of these neighbors doing that to somebody else. Oh no, this use. I could have been this cowardly. I could have lived that bottom feeder life. However comfortable life is for them. I could have been this trash, and that's why I'm always thankful. God, thank you, because in the misery I'm going to go through, something I could have been is some shit that the people are here. I could have been that. These people, death is coming to them. They will. You forget that. It's easy to forget that our time is limited. We're gonna die. These people dedicate so much of their life, and when they're able to do whatever they want, but dedicated so much of their time in this nastiness, and dumbing themselves down to that level for so long. Like, don't you need a break and go be normal and live a life with a little bit more dignity? Like, is it not overwhelming, tiresome to having to dumb yourself down 24/7? I'll never let you guys live your fantasy. I understand. I've been too validated that there is no way I will ever identify with the manipulation. It's over. It's even so over that you don't even want to be seen anymore, because you're scared I'm going to listen to something that is so overwhelming. Proof that there's tactics I realize on another level, that the people doing these things to us, that's incentivizing these losers to do whatever they do. Have the true issues. It's overwhelming. It's scary almost. Well, these people work day in and day out to find ways to tweak around memories, thoughts, perceptions, so you have these disgusting reactions. Listen, I speak knowing that it's not going to change what's going to happen to me. But you understand the power of somebody who understands what's going to happen to him, saying the things he says? That's not something I would want to be like associating myself to. These people are truly cowards. To them, a small scratch to them could be like they are so weak. Something that I've heard before, and it's true. To us, target individuals, we go through so much horrible things that small things don't mess with us anymore. These people are so sheltered and away from reality that it will not take much for them to find misery. It is a cowardly way of living that's, my gosh, even when they look at me, I can see the everything just whap. The only people who just maintain is the childlike people who like in La La Land. They're like so out of touch with reality. You see, they're people like this. It's the people like this, like childlike people. You can see they're not even on, they're somewhere else. But when you see an adult grown man and woman who are fully like understanding of like they're very much on this, they can't play themselves this way. They've seen things in life. They understand reality. When you see them, they can't even. These people are like, whoa. I was like, this is just. I don't want to make myself this retarded. But this, oh my gosh. It's big. They can go into right now. They think they are war. They think they are war. Peaches and all. So let me calm down. Let me start with the proper introduction. What I just showed you is what you call perps. They come in all shape and form. Those people are contracted by governmental entities to make you accept whatever manipulation you're going to experience. Who are you for this manipulation to happen to you? Target individuals, we're just human subjects in the developing of weapons. That's why there's so much effort in whatever's happening to us. Because we're not just anybody, we're people that have been put in a program where they're using very sophisticated technology onto us in order to improve and develop this technology. Unfortunately, we're basically guinea pigs. And they apply the same tactics they have applied so many others. The manipulations that this technology they utilize on us are so advanced. It's crazy. First of all, physically, physiologically, body is destroyed. Organs are destroyed. I can feel my body just breaking down. I honestly wait for the day where things get so much worse. I know it's gonna happen. The liver, the organs, my knees, my blindness, like all of these things, it's a matter of time. Not only because I can feel it, but also the testimonies of others who've said the exact same thing. You know you're gonna be handicapped one way or another. You can feel your back structure, your vertebrae moving around, and I don't even walk the same way. I have this weird walk. I can't even stand. Like when I stretch, I feel something. Like you feel your neck, you feel your body breaking down. And it's not like I'm an extreme athlete. I don't play sports that would break me down. Nobody has done anything to me physically, but I know like this, everything can. You feel yourself being very fragilized. Your bones, oh my gosh. Now this is happening to me because this technology that can do things to you remotely is being applied onto me, and it's very precise. We talk about very sophisticated technology that only comes from DoD, from the Department of Defense, and so much things are happening, but nobody's around you, like in proximities of you, like where you can see. For it to happen to my elbow, twisting, like my skull structure is just changing. Nobody's here doing this thing to me. Like when I'm in here, like here. So you understand this is like technology that is just, and you figure out soon that, oh, that's why. We're just those guinea pigs. And this trash that you just saw are involved in the program where they use test subjects that are human. And they dedicate so much effort in this nastiness that people involved in it, your whole ecosystem when you become target individual is filled with people who are trying to make you believe that this is anything else but this program led by governmental entity. And they create facades of all sorts. But the thing that is even more destructive than also the physical aspect of it is the psychological manipulation. They have technology, some called synthetic telepathy, V2K, that restructure your thoughts, your memories, your perception, manipulates your brain in ways that are so disgustingly and pervert in a way that you don't like, not like pervert in a pedophilia way. Trying to get you to accept this manipulation and create these like battles in your brain it is extremely sophisticated. That your brain is hacked and rewired, and they have the ability to make you think in ways that you will not think yourself, to have perception that you yourself will not have, to have stimulation that you yourself will not experience naturally. Everything is manipulated, so you're almost no longer yourself. You just recognize the changes. Like, why am I feeling like that? Why am I seeing this thing like that? Why am I thinking like that? Why my memories are like that? Why my perceptions are like that? Because this technology can do this. And then there are people like them who come in all shape and form. Their job is to then make you believe that, we're looking at our phone. Oh, it's you. We caught you. Oh, and they come up with this fantasy. Like, no, oh my gosh, we busted you. Oh, it's so you. And that's supposed to be like, you're supposed to feel nervous and be like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, those are my thoughts. They caught my thoughts. But you realize this is like a whole gimmicky. It's part of this whole program because they want you to identify with these manipulations. They want you to feel guilty for how you're being manipulated. And they come in all shape. This is just like the more like the childlike people are just like, so they have no shame, right? Just mentally childlike in the sense that they start creating this fantasy like they are at war. But you have been validated. You've been validated in ways that you don't understand. The tactics are very pedophilia-centric. And it's so nasty. But the reason why I make videos is because I want to show a pattern. So first of all, I just want to say thank you, God, because I couldn't be living life doing this. This is not a glamorous life to live. It's not an honorable life to live. It's not a dignified life to live. It's a humiliating life to live. But you get a lot of perks and incentives. You become God, basically, in your own, like, they make themselves believe, like, this ability to manipulate people can feel intoxicating. It's empowering. Can you imagine being able to make somebody feel certain ways? Thoughts? Everything in my life is going to be orchestrated in a certain way. So they can tell me what I'm going to experience in every situation. Because my life is no longer mine. It's no longer me. Everything I'm going to go through is going to be something that's been manipulated, orchestrated for the purpose of this program. So these people like that, these warriors, can tell me things about what I'm going to experience 3 days from now, 3 months from now, while not knowing what the hell they're going to do. No idea. But me, they can tell me everything because they involve in a program where human subjects are destroyed and their whole life is orchestrated for misery. So you can understand the intoxicating empowerments you have, especially if you're like, you're like a childlike individual like that. You understand? So I'm just so thankful that this option was never offered to me. Because I don't know if I'll be like weak too. And open the door and say something and slamming the door and presenting, now it's you that. But the humiliation is, you've been validated. At this point, as a target individual, it's impossible for me to make me accept these manipulations as if it's me. Yes, I know my thoughts can be played around and my logic can be manipulated and rationalizing in ways that are just nonsensicalness because this technology is that sophisticated. But I know it's because that's what the technology can do. But the way we're validated is just God-given. I've been making a lot of videos about how they manipulate my perception. And sometimes what they do is, in real time, the manipulations that you experience, the real-time experience of your memories, the real-time experience of your perceptions, they can go back and make it worse when you think about it again, or they make you think about it. For example, today I find out that somebody that I'm talking to lost somebody, right? Somebody died. And they made me think of somebody else I was with, who shortly after I was with her, she lost somebody important in her family. She lost her uncle. Her uncle just suddenly died. It's funny, they were trying to create this like mystic thing about this. Like, hey, listen, death is death. It's gonna come. People die every day. These bottom feeders doing what they do to me will die. When the day comes, they'll die. It's gonna be collected. They will have to die. I know they don't think about this. I know they think about my death and how I'm gonna die, and maybe even excited about them about my death, but they don't even excite. They're not even excited. They're not even thinking about their own death. They're not even thinking that death is something they're gonna experience. But with that being said, they were trying to make me think, I see everybody who's become involved in this program and does things to you, death follows them. Now, I don't know if it's that mystical. I don't think so. But one thing is for sure, everybody who's involved in this program will get reimbursed one way or another. I don't think that was the reimbursement. Maybe that is more like, remember, you're God. Okay. Keep thinking you're God. I'm going to show you who's God. But in the meantime, play God. The surprise I'm going to bring you is going to be worse than what you've done to this man or this woman. And you're not even prepared for that because you already lived a life of like dishonor, indignified, disgraceful life. So for you, it will take very little to break down. You've been a coward for X amount of time. Big time coward. But via V2K, you're God. You even made yourself talk in certain ways. So you'll get yours. So I don't think this is like based on, I know what they're gonna, when the time comes, it will be properly shown. And they'll probably be reimbursed because these are these fragile beings. But when they talk to you, oh my gosh, they try to agitate you via V2K. V2K is the voice to skull. It's the ability to project voices onto somebody's brain. The voices that interact with me sound like there's childlike people living around me. Right? And their job is to try to, they have a way to try to even sometimes sound innocent. That makes me forget that what they do to women and children, because they try to distance the reality of who they've done it to. who they've done this thing to. The torture of women, the children, destruction. And they sometimes, the psyop was also like, oh, we're this like fierce, progressive woke. As a matter of fact, this person I was on dating app tried to show me the how, like, oh gosh, you just know nothing. They try to present themselves that they are femme fatale, like feminists, but they're nothings. They're nobodies. But the things they have to do now is so disgusting. Let me say this. The validation are so nasty, especially when you find out the issues of these entities. The Department of Defense has been having a lot of problem with pedophilia. But the tactics they utilize onto us very pedophilia centric. Very. And so you hear this trash like, oh, we caught you. They manipulate the things to make you experience. They tell me how they're going to frame me. They tell me they're going to implant child porn. And this is how they're going to frame me. They tell me that they're going to have their children say that something happened to them. And they've been using my phone or doing things to set me up in order to make it look like I've done something to this child. And they say that in a fierce way. Oh, we dared. You pay. And trying to find ways to make what they do fierce. When in reality, they're just nasty, low-life bottom feeders who torture even children and women. But the incentives are provided to them for them to be willing to even sell their children to pedophiles. And tell themselves, we are at war. You're not at war, just sold your soul. You sold your soul and your children's soul to these pedos because these agencies truly have problem with pedophilia. You're going to hear that. You're going to hear how nasty they are. Now, the way they make me experience things today is so disturbing. The reason why I make videos is to describe the manipulations. I was with this woman who's a perp. She shows me a picture of her uncle who's no longer with us. He died. And she was going through pictures of her uncle. It's like, yeah, this is my uncle. He died, and he died later on in his life. I think it was close to like mid-70s or something. So his children are all grown up, like adults, older than me. But she goes through his picture, and this picture of him when he's a younger adult man, and his kids are very young kids, 4 to 6-year-old. As I say that, they even try to disturb me. And this kid, this baby, he has his little girl. At the time she was a little girl, but she's an adult woman, older than me. He's wearing a bathing suit, and he's sitting down at a pool, and the little girl's about to run to the pool, and he's like grabbing her, something like that. It's very endearing, actually very wholesome. But the little girl is wearing a bathing suit, like a little girl bathing suit, like, you know. The way they've made me perceive that in real time was so disgusting. They were forcing me to imagine this kid wearing like laced bathing suits, like lingerie type. It was so disgusting. And you could only see like the bottom half of this kid in the picture. Like he was holding her like on the arm here, like on his arm, but you could not see really like the kid. And that bottom half, they were creating like perceptions that were just disgusting. That was in real time. Today, oh my gosh, the worst part is they can play with your memories and make it worse in your memories, changing even more, creating a more disturbing perception of that memory. It's so nasty. And they were making me think of like women with like bathing suits, make me think of like a woman who's kind of voluptuous, but morphing it into a baby, a child, and combining these things together to make me think of this kid in a sexual way. And then they'll be like, no, you see, we mapped it. That's how you see it if you're a child. I was like, Jesus. I was like, no, there he is. And then they'll be like, the way they try to make me accept these manipulations is like, hey, we're not doing the pedophilia type of torture. Remember what you did as a kid. Talk about me in middle school. It's been their ways of trying to counter reality, to make me believe that what I'm experiencing is something that they've seen happen when you were a child. And so via their mapping and matching This is what I'm experiencing today. And when I was a kid, I did something to myself. A middle school child. Let me just show you. Around that age. You see these kids? Around that, the age of these kids here. Middle school children. Did something stupid, impulsive, never even thought about it again. It was just a child doing something childlike that is embarrassing. Looking back as an adult man, I was like, what was I thinking? But I understand kids can do this. So when they make me have this nasty perception, they're like, no, but we see there's something there. Remember what you did in middle school? And you're like, you think that I'm going to let you escape in this way? Do you know how validating it is? First of all, I'm not a child. What I did as a child is me as a mentally developing individual as a child. And this happened once, showing how much of a child like I was. Now, what you guys make people experience are very systematic. They have shown a pattern of what they do. There is so much testimonials in regard to the pedophilia type of torture they do, and how they try to torment you using your imaginations, manipulating your imaginations to torment you. And this is global. The same testimonials, like, no, they make this feeling, they make you feel this way, they do. It's so disgusting. They are so pedophilia centric that they've made almost all target individuals dealing with V2K and synthetic telepathy experience some child porn implantation. You're going to hear that. But then you find out this other layer that is even more disturbing. Now, in this program, the reason why they do this breaking down of the mind is to depattern you. So they do this pedophilia type of torture, and you hear the target individual saying the same things, which validates you. It's like, yeah, you guys they were trying to be like, no, it's you when you were a kid. Remember what you guys like? No. It's what you guys do in this program to break people down. And there's obvious validation of that. But then you find out that these entities actually have a real problem of pedophilia. That cherry on top of all the cherries they already have is just like destructive. You find out they do the pedophilia type of torture. This is a way to depattern you, to break you down. You find out they do that to men, women, but they also torture children in this program because test subjects comes in all shape and form and ages. Even infants are sexually tortured. Children, 7-year-old kids, 4-year-old, 3-year-old, 2-year-old. What I heard is like 7. I heard a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old being sexually tortured. For the purpose of just breaking down and seeing the reactions and what they need to tweak. So they torture children in ways that are so disgusting. They torture women and men not only psychologically, physically, but the psychological torture, it consists of pedophilia type of tormenting. But then you find out, oh my goodness, those entities that does these things to us, that contract these losers to make you believe these manipulations are proof that these manipulations are just you should subscribe to it, that it's we've been looking at our phone. These losers are actually working for entities where pedophilia is a true problem. So when they make you have this false memory or manipulate your perception in real time of how you look at this baby, this adorable baby, this is not even adorable, this adorable moment, this endearing moment where you see a father who's no longer here, who's dead, with his little girl holding her like that, and this kid wanting to jump in the pool. This is an endearing, wholesome, especially when the man is no longer there. You can see, oh man, he looked like he was a good father, at least at this time. Changing that nastiness, changing this thing to nastiness, to make me imagine these kids in bathing suit in these disgusting ways, and they tweak around to see how they can change that, and then they use these losers, these bottom feeders, to try to get you to accept these things. Doing their best to gaslight you into accepting these manipulations. Calling you everything in order for you to accept this thing. But then you get validation. That these retardations, like now we mapped it because when you're a kid, it is like when I was a kid. I'm not a kid, I'm an adult man. I've been me long enough as an adult to know who I am. And this thing that the way you make us experience this thing has been validated, because there is so much validation, testimonials that shows that there's a bunch of pedophilia type of torture, and there's no noise campaign, no whatever distraction that's going to change that. There's no tonality they can use via V2K that's going to change this. Then you find out the entities that run this program are so pedophilia centric that a law, or not even a law, a bill is meant to limit the amount of child porn this DoD network and Pentagon devices is currently sharing, creating, and circulating within the DoD network. So not only these people are manipulating us in these disgusting ways, but the entities that run this program have problems with pedophilia. So you get validations and proof of how nasty and bottom feeders they are, on top of the fact that they're using human subjects and using these tactics to break us down with this pedophilia type of tormenting that is systematically heard. Now, why am I saying this? It's because these people, first of all, want to disassociate themselves from the reality of what they're part of, because they're brutal to even babies. They're brutal to women. But with me, they wanted to make themselves, now you pay for what you did as a kid, when they program to torture children. Oh, for this woman, they rape women in ways that you can't even understand. They can't even say the name of Roy Moore without saying it in a way that I can't even hear. They are so bottom feeders and obvious, just the people who implement these things, that for them to believe, no, it's a war. I'm a guinea pig for the DoD. I understand. I don't want to diminish myself, but this is the reality. You are working for this governmental entity. You are tweaking the ways I'm thinking to manipulate me to experience these nasty things. You will never be a warrior or coward of life in your PJs right now. You're just at war with reality. And you created this personality to kind of cope with the reality of what you guys do. Because you guys are very pedophilia centric. You've done these things to even children. But I understand that. And I'm here to help you. My purpose on this earth is to show these losers, these bottom feeders who've done horrible things to even babies. Please wait for what's going to come to you. You don't need preparation for what you're going to do to me. It's going to happen to me regardless of you involved or not. But you're not going to escape. Now listen. The pedophilia type of torture is it's so validating that you're going to hear this. I don't know if this is going to work. The pedophilia type of torture is so validating that you hear these things. Now, listen to what I'm going to hear and ask yourself, do you think they would do this kind of nasty perceptions and manipulation of thoughts, of imagination in a very pedophilia centric way? Or is this something they mapped it to me when I was a kid? As a thinking person, as an adult, logical person, what do you think? Now, should we listen to the pedophilia type of tortures first?
It's what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams.
This is where I learned the term pedophilia type of torture. This woman said they make her smell baby powder, and then she gets the pedophilia type of torture. So it means that something sexual with babies or children is applied onto her. Do you think that these people will not make me have these disturbing sexual imaginations toward children or perceptions? Oh, listen to what V2K is described by the same woman who talks about the pedophilia type of torture.
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just
the manipulation of thoughts, perceptions, and the projections of voices. This is usually very perverted. This is the same woman who talks about the pedophilia type of torture. What do you think that they pervert? This is not me saying that, it's somebody else. Do you think these people would create disturbing perceptions toward children? Okay. Let's continue this. Now, when surveying multiple target individuals, 1,000 of them, one question was asked in regard to what they experienced, and almost all of them said this.
Common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds, and vice versa.
Child pornography in their mind. With these people who can implant those disturbing thoughts, can make you imagine children in a sexual way. When asked 1,000 target individuals, almost all of them said they are forced to view child pornography in their minds. Would these people have you imagine children in this sexual way? After surveying 1,000 target individuals, almost all of them said they are forced to view child pornography in their mind. Okay. Ask yourself that. Now, listen to this person, target individual.
It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind. But he thoughts of pedophilia. This disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know if it's here. I don't know if it's through weapons. I don't know.
So this target individual, who's no longer with us, said there's people who are try to change who she is a trans woman who's no longer with us, by implanting pedophilia, and she doesn't say the whole word. She said she stopped. She's like, you heard my first word. Thoughts of pedophilia, and she's saying there's people surrounding her, participating in it. Sounds familiar. Do you think that for me they're not doing the same thing? They're not doing the pedophilia type of torture, and they're not forcing me to have these perceptions toward children that are sexual. They won't do that. You heard this. Okay. It doesn't end here, as I'm looking at the victim of somebody who was killed in a mass shooting because of being pushed into insanity. By the way, because of there was a mass shooting that happened not too long ago, and the man that did the mass shooting, he said that he was hearing voices, and those voices were calling him a pedophile. This ended up being the largest mass shooting of 2023 and the 10th in the United States of America. These people will not do the pedophilia type of torture, right, onto me. But listen to this woman. This woman who has multiple children. Then they start doing these things where they make her have program perversion, stimulating her toward children. Listen to her.
And suddenly one day that I was petting him, I felt strange, in the sense of the word. I thought, this is strange, and then afterwards that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was impost, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing, and then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ASS. So just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use. A people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals.
You heard the last part. This program perversion started off with dogs. She was petting her dog, felt some weird feelings, and she started laughing that off. I was like, okay, I know what you guys tried to do. And she continued doing what she was doing. Then, and by the way, she talks about people moving next to her, involved in this. Then, these feelings, this program perversion, started to be aimed toward children. Sorry, she said first young people, children, and homosexuals. They've done the same thing with me, where they've done this feeling toward men and give me these weird stimulations. You think these people around me are not doing the pedophilia type of torture onto me? And they are mapping to me as a child? No. It's obvious they're doing these nasty things, but it doesn't end there. These men in Lithuania, which they try to counter with this other manipulation, in 2021, I found testimonials all around the world. There was a 2007 list of 100 testimonials from targeted individuals all around the world, saying a lot of the similar things I'm saying today. You gotta understand, that was in 2007, so today, you can only imagine how precise it is now. In this a list of 100 individuals from all around the world, mostly Americans, but people from all around the world, saying the same thing. Saying that they manipulate my brain in these disgusting ways and force me to have imaginations and even play with my memories. And he says this.
Able to impose any information on the brain of a person, presumably by some kind of waves, which in the mind take the form of voices, thoughts and images and imagination. In addition to this kind of implanting information that they need, they manipulate the psyche so that the information is written into your memory. Then by stimulating the certain regions in the brain, they can retrieve this information and present it as your own memory. This is the conclusion that can be made judging by the influence they have been making on me with their psychotronic weapons, for example, artificial thoughts, imagination, and mental torture.
These people who can implant any kind of imaginations and implant information into your memories can have created some kind of mental torture because of the way they make him imagine things. You think these people would have this disgusting imagination and memories and perception of children in a sexual way to torment them? What do you think? Is there something that shows that? Okay. Now, this program is obviously led by a governmental entity, but they try to make it look like it's anything but a governmental entity running this program.
8 billion brains.
Listen to this.
Go that person to rebuild it. So EV2K. So they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
So it's funny for me. They try to make it sound like this fierce group of whatever. They just anything but this massive government that is utilizing this foreign defense technology for the purpose of developing it. And by the way, before that, he said something about this tactics consist of patterning somebody. Let me bring this up.
Individual, but they're scripts, and they're meant to confuse the very derogatory. That's just typical breakdown. If you know, if you've ever been to boot camp, you're a worm until you're part of the team. And why would you want to break down the ego of that person? To rebuild it. So this gets into creating men.
They're trying to break your ego down. Try to break down your self-image. What things can do that? Would you think these people would do this nasty pedophilia type of tormenting that you just heard over and over and over? No, it doesn't end there. This massive government that they're talking about have had this ongoing issue with pedophilia. Listen to how disgusting pedophilia-centric they've been having.
Has come under investigation for links to the proliferation of graphic material called Project Flickr. Some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD-affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swan. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device PED policy, where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security sweeps. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from coming in, but we're also not doing enough in the Department of Defense to go after those individuals who are being recognized as the ones who are perpetrating this.
So Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger is the co-author to this bill. She said this, quote, the notion that the Department of Defense's network and Pentagon-issued computers may be used to view, create, or circulate such horrifying images is a shameful disgrace and one we must fight head-on.
You just heard that. This bill is to attempt to combat this issue. And this woman says the notion the Department of Defense network and Pentagon-issued computers may be used to view, create, or circulate such horrifying images is shameful. And they are ranked 19th out of 2,900 in regards to sharing the most child porn using these devices and this network provided to them by the DoD and the Pentagon.
Now, the fact that the Pentagon workers, be they civil or military or otherwise, already submit to a gauntlet of daily scrutiny just going in and out of work, is it fair then to the tens of thousands who are completely innocent to further allow that much more government intrusion into their digital devices or the things that they're dealing with on their computers?
Well, remember that what's being talked about here is not an intrusion into someone's personal device or even their home. This is about saying Department of Defense computers are being misused to share, to spread, to access child pornography.
Computer devices. So much so they're ranked by Child Protective Services as 19th out of 2,900. This is in 2018. This is not too long ago. Do you think these entities will utilize pedophilia type of tormenting to break down a human subject after hearing the testimonials, the validations, and then finding out those entities happen to have a lot of problem with pedophilia? Do you think there's something there? Oh, target individuals are also not only targeting men and women and adults. This is the things they do to children.
The suffocation. One day I was observed.
7-year-old.
One day I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, ow.
A 7-year-old suffocated and also sexually tortured by daddy. I moved that part. And then you hear a 4 or 5-year-old child and then the 3-year-old sexually tortured in this program. Oh, this is not unique. They do this to women and children. Listen to this woman with her young child being tortured and coming to this bioethic. That was in 2011.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutmann to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores. And please give us...
This is a woman who's not only test subject, but her and her young child are both put in this program where they do all these disgusting things using this very sophisticated technology onto to her and her young child. For me, they try to be like, no, but we're different. We're this like femme fatale, feminist. There's a lot of females involved in the torture of women. Listen to this.
But I was going to be shot in the face. And it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, she was shot in the face. You know, felt like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Oh, get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is, with the Voice of Skull, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow this to go on?
Sounds familiar. There's nothing here I can think about that will make me believe that they are manipulating my brain in this disturbing, manipulative way for a purpose of breaking me down. Let me see. Mass shooting, as I was saying, this mass shooter, matter of fact, they stimulate me when I see the picture of the child of one of the victims who ended up dying, which they want me to subscribe and identify as if it's me. But in October of 2023, end of October, listen to this.
In me last week, the New York Times, I'm Michael Barbaro. This is The Daily. Today, the mass shooting that occurred in Maine last week, killing 18 people, was the country's deadliest of the year. It may also have been one of the most avoidable.
The deadliest and perhaps the most avoidable. Beyond avoidable. Matter of fact, listen to how similarly it sounds like a target individual. And there's multiple. I'm just going to bring the last one.
Speak with the family. And in that interview, the teenage son and the ex-wife say that he has started to hear voices. He started to be increasingly paranoid.
He started hearing voices. Then this happened.
Card travels with his reserve unit to West Point, New York for an annual training exercise. And there's a very concerning incident that takes place. They're all hanging out together at a motel, and he starts accusing them of calling him a pedophile. This is one of his paranoid delusions that comes up repeatedly.
This comes up repeatedly. Now, based on what you just heard, is there something that can show that perhaps there's a pattern of these tactics of manipulating the brain in these pedophilia ways of reacting and perceptions and manipulations of thoughts or memories or even libido? Or these people have done things so systematically, and then you have perps like them. They come in all shape and form, but some of them want to be seen more than others because they think that's they're much very childlike minded. So you have these people looking at their phone when they manipulate you, and I see. It's yeah, no, you guys won't do that. You guys are just observing. I'm not being manipulated at all. So target individual, I'm being told how I'm going to be tortured and all these horrible things that's going to happen to me, how they're going to frame me. Guess how they're going to frame me? You've guessed it. They say something pedophilia-centric. Do you see a pattern here? Those are the people in your brain with the ability to manipulate your thoughts, your perceptions. Telling you they're going to frame you in a pedophilia ways. But no, they're not doing anything pedophilia to you. It's you. They mapped it to you when you were a kid. After you heard these obvious testimonials that they have this disgusting ability to manipulate the brain in these perverted ways toward children. And they're like, oh, they are. It's like, yes, there's a lot. There's a lot of it. So to all my target individual, that's why I'm so thankful to God. You understand the way we validate it? This is surreal. In every ways you can imagine. In every ways. And you heard the things they do to kids. And how disgusting they are to children. Sexually torturing even 7-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old. Mothers and their own young children tortured. Then try to not only say that, oh, that we're mapping, and then they're like, now you pay for what you did as a kid. Did you hear the horrible things they do? And do you hear what those entities and the issues they have? And they're not manipulating me in these pedophilia ways? Stay strong.